Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. This is IMAX Sports with another football video, and today I'm going over my Week 2 NFL predictions. We haven't had our Monday Night Football game for this week yet, but I figured I would do my Week 2 predictions today anyways because I had some time. So yeah, highlight game of the week obviously is Chiefs-Ravens. I think everyone's excited for that one, and let's get right into it. So this week's Thursday Night Football game is Washington versus the Giants. I have Washington beating the Giants 24-20. I was not impressed by either of their performances this week. The Giants got destroyed by the Broncos, and Washington lost in a close game to the Chargers. Washington looked a little bit better than the Giants did, but I really wasn't impressed by either of them. I think this will be a fairly decently played defensive game, but I think that the offense will be pretty... I think 24-20 might even be like an over-exaggeration of the score, but we'll see. We'll see how it all turns out. I think it'll be a good Thursday night matchup. Next, we have the 1 o'clock games. Once again, there are 9 1 o'clock games this week. We got our 2 o'clock Central, 3 o'clock Pacific, 3 o'clock Mountain, 4 o'clock Pacific. That's the wrong way. 12 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock Mountain, 10 o'clock Pacific. Anyways, 1 o'clock Eastern time games. We got Steelers-Raiders. I have the Steelers beating the Raiders 27-17. I think that Pittsburgh should fairly easily win that game. Saints-Panthers, I have the Saints winning 31-17. Again, I think that the Saints should fairly easily win that game. Bengals-Bears, I think, will be a close game. I think that the Bengals will come out on top. I was more impressed by the way that the Bengals played this week. I know the Bears were up against the Rams, and the Rams have a very strong team, but the Bears just looked very discombobulated. I think the Bengals looked much better the other day, and I think that this week, at least, I think the Bengals will win. Patriots-Jets, I have the Patriots winning 31-14. The Jets just suck. Browns-Texans, I have the Browns beating the Texans 34-27. I think that'll be a pretty high-scoring game. I think that Houston showed that they actually do have an offense, and the Browns obviously have an offense. I think that they'll be going back and forth. I think that the Browns will obviously come out with the win, though. Rams-Colts, I have the Rams winning 30-20. I think that that's going to be a fairly close game. I think it's going to be very similar to the Seattle game, though. I think that it's going to be a very similar, game structure. I think that there might be a few more points scored in this one. I think that the Rams are going to keep up where they left off last week, pick up where they left off last week. And I think the Colts are going to have a tough time against this really strong Rams team. I have the Bills beating the Dolphins 27-20, making the AFC East 1-1 across the board, except for the Jets. I think that this will be a close game. I think that the Bills were a little bit worse than I expected them to be in their showing last week. I think that Miami wasn't better than I thought that they would be, but they were about where I expected them to be. So I think that it'll be a very close matchup. I think Buffalo will come out on top. 49ers-Eagles, I have this as another high-scoring game. I think this will be very similar to the Rams-Colts. Or no, this will be similar to Browns-Texans. I have the 49ers and the Browns both very high, and I have the Texans and the Eagles both very middle to low of the pack on my power rankings. I think that these will be easy games for the Niners and the Browns to win, but I think that they'll be high-scoring. I think the Texans and the Eagles will put up a lot of points and give them hell for their win. There's some sort of siren in the background. I apologize if you can hear that. I have the Broncos beating the Jaguars 30-27. The Broncos looked very strong in their win against the Giants yesterday, and the Jaguars didn't look very impressive in their loss to the Texans. I think that with an extra week, Trevor Lawrence will look better. I think they'll keep it close, but I think the Broncos have a stronger team right now. Moving on to the 4 o'clock games, we have Bucs-Falcons, we have Cardinals-Vikings, we have Seahawks-Titans, and we have Cowboys-Chargers. I have the Bucs beating the Falcons 41-20. I think that game will be a blowout. The Falcons got destroyed by the Eagles, so I think that the Bucs should go in there and destroy them as well. 20 might even be a stretch. Their offense looked very discombobulated, but hey, you never know. They might have a good game. Cards-Vikings. I have the Cardinals beating the Vikings 34-21. I think Arizona should have an easy time with this game. The Vikings played a good game against the Bengals, but ultimately lost. And the Cardinals destroyed Tennessee in Week 1. I think that they'll keep the momentum going, and they'll come in and they'll beat up on Minnesota. I have the Seahawks beating the Titans 35-31. I know Tennessee didn't have a great game last week, and I know Seattle's defense looked strong last week, but I still think Tennessee has some fight in them. I think that the Seahawks will win, but I think that Tennessee will be able to keep it close. Mainly because I think that I hope Derrick Henry does well for my fantasy football team. But yeah, hopefully Derrick Henry can get a couple touchdowns for my fantasy team, but I still don't think that the Titans will win. I think that the Seahawks should have that game in the bag. And then Cowboys-Chargers will be a very interesting game. I have the Chargers higher on my power rankings right now, but I think that the Cowboys have more. But I think that because neither of these defenses are the most impressive defenses in the world, I think that the Cowboys offense will come in and shred. The Chargers have a stronger defense than the Cowboys do. It's very clear, but I think that the Cowboys offense will just go in there and shred. Dak Prescott's thrown over 400 yards in 4 of his last 5 starts. I mean, it's insane. He's having an insane... it's crazy that he just walked in last week against the Tampa Bay defense that just held Patrick Mahomes to 9 points and then put up 400 yards after being out with a leg injury all year. It's crazy. It's crazy. For Sunday Night Football, we have Chiefs-Ravens, as I mentioned earlier. I have the Chiefs beating the Ravens 31-24. I think that this is a pretty fair score estimate. They usually keep it pretty close. I was basing this score off of Lamar Jackson's previous interactions with Patrick Mahomes. I think the previous scores were like 34-20, 33-21, 30-24 or something. They're all very close. I think this will be a 1-score game, maybe a 2-score game. It might be 31-21. But anyway, I think the Chiefs will be somewhere in the low 30s. The Ravens will be somewhere in the low 20s. It's gonna be a good game though. The Ravens will keep it close. They'll keep it Gucci, and then the Chiefs they'll do what they always do. Mahomes is like 10 comebacks from 10 or more points. The Chiefs will keep it close, and then they'll score 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter or something. And then last but certainly not least, we have Packers-Lions. Monday Night Football. I have the Packers beating the Lions 24-17. I was very disappointed with the way that the Packers played this week. I thought the Packers did an amazing job, had an amazing season last year, but this year Aaron Rodgers just went into New Orleans and got pummeled, 38-3. Aaron Rodgers had 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, probably for the first time in his career. I mean, I think he even got a touchdown last year when he threw 2 on the Bucs. That was the most uncharacteristic Aaron Rodgers game I've ever seen. I'm not gonna go all crazy and say that he's all washed up and old, because everyone said that about Brady and he's still here throwing 380 yards and 4 touchdowns. But this will be a test to see if the Packers are legit. I mean, not really, because the Lions suck, but if the Packers lose this game, then we know they aren't legit, and if they win this game, we know there's still potential for them to be legit. So it's kind of a weird Monday Night Football game. I'm surprised they have the Lions Monday night, but I think Jared Goff will give Rodgers a run for his money. I think Rodgers will step it up against a slightly easier defense, or a much easier defense in the Detroit Lions, worse than the league last year. I really don't see the Lions having a easy time with this game. So I'm very curious to see how this week goes. Yeah. Tomorrow or the next day, I'll be coming out with my fantasy football video for my 2 fantasy football leagues, so make sure to check that out. I also will be going over my Pigskin Pick'ems. That's an ESPN thing where I go over my predictions for each week. Last week I was 9-6, so that put me in 2nd place in my league with Football Whale and some other people. And I'm also in, if any of you know Tom Grossi, he has a Pigskin Pick'em league, and I am 670 out of 6,000 something. So it's about 86th percentile of football fans. So next week there'll be more diversity. People start figuring out if they're good or bad at it. I think a lot of people end up somewhere around the 500 range, because that's usually how it works out, but we'll see. I'm very curious to see you guys' opinions on this week's predictions, and I'll try to keep getting the videos coming. So thank you guys all for the support, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.